Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I'm your host, your DFS Jerusalem, coming to you live from the DLS. You got 150 entries, and then you're a shark, and I don't fuck with you. So there's too much good shit on here. This is the often imitated, never duplicated. I'm here with my lovely co-host. Thank y'all. Stay safe. Enjoy. I may have been calling in to work. You're gonna be in the running for the Snowflake of the Year. Get your shit together with your snowflake. I'm at the crib, man, and I'm just finishing up. Stop. Throw them bitches in the main. I'm telling you. You're gonna see the results, bro. You're gonna see it. Just this is what's really gonna help you out. If you know how I feel about the home dogs, there's a lot of fight in the home dogs, and I really think a lot of shit to go over tonight. Who that scored all them points over there? Player of the night.
Get him in your lineups. Get him in there, and let's go get this money.
Thursday, let's go, and remember, in the sweatshop, we always keep it 300.
We're going live. Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop, where I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me, of course, on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Today, we're going to be breaking down what happened a little bit in yesterday's 15-game Sunday slate, talking a little bit of, the perfect lineup, some plays that we were on, hits and misses, so to speak, guys that we hit on, guys that we missed on, stacks that we were talking about in the VIP over here, and of course, give a round of applause to the lovely VIP family. I've got those guys riding with me today to go ahead and bring some of that stuff to you. Tone Loke, man, what's happening, homie? Good to see you in the spot, man. We're going to get to it. Now, first things first, 23 runs. Samuel, I like the drum, is in the spot. What's happening? 23 runs we saw for the Nats today, man. Wasn't that fantastic? I mean, the guy goes 6 for 6. Anthony Rendon goes 6 for 6, 10 RBI, 3 home runs. The dude scored 99 FanDuel points and 71 DraftKings points. That was probably the most prolific performance I have ever seen before. Ever. And you know what? And me, I had a pretty decent day, because if you remember in yesterday's video, dude had almost 100. You remember in yesterday's video, something that I talked about was, I was like, yo, what I'm going to do, fuck it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm playing Phil Hughes, who everybody told me not to play. I'm playing Phil. Kaheem Jones just walked in. What's happening, big homie? I said, I'm playing Phil Hughes, I'm playing Chris Archer, and I'm stacking the Nationals. And that's exactly what I did, man. That was the best lineup that I had. I ended up doubling my buy-in based solely off of what happened in Washington. Had a fair amount of Dallas Keuchel. That was one of the only lineups that I didn't have him in, because I had Phil Hughes and I had, of course, Chris Archer, who kind of underwhelmed in his time, but he had 20 DraftKings points, and that's kind of what you want. You want a little bit more, but that's okay. You can live with that. You can live with that from Archer. So it was a crazy day, bro. I mean, cats that we were talking about that I felt were on the verge that I had been rostering. Did I have Rendon? No, I had zero Rendon, zero. I had absolutely no Rendon. In most of my lineups, I had Bryce Harper. I had Matt Waiters everywhere, so that was good. And that was simply a stack situation. Was the reason why I fell on Matt Waiters in a few spots. But I had Waiters, I had some Murphy, I had some Bryce Harper. Yeah, he was only like 1% owned. And see, that is the value. Kaheem Jones said he just got MLB The Show, and now he's addicted. Yes, it is awesome. Yo, do yourself a favor. On MLB The Show, make yourself like on the road to the show. I'm like in my second year right now. I'm batting just above the Mendoza line, as they say, about 215, which is horrible. But I'm leading the minors in jacks. I'm a home run hitter, a 165-pound shortstop. So I'm pretty good. I'm waiting on that call up though. I am. Dave Cunningham, what's happening, homie? Good to see you, man. So we saw a ton of great performances, but let's go ahead and talk about the perfect lineup. This is going to be for the main slate, the 10 games. I believe most of them were earlier. We got a guy heading off the perfect lineup that I was completely not on. I said, I'm not playing any pitcher from this game, and that was a mistake because Matt Garza from the Milwaukee Brewers went in and went ham. Had 23 DraftKings points. Very solid day for him. Next pitcher we've got is Dallas Keuchel at 9.4K, 34.25 DraftKings points, led all pitchers in scoring. We were on him, definitely. Then we had Matt Waiters, a guy I just talked about at 3.1, goes out and scores 39 DraftKings points. Got a big piece of that 23-run game that we saw. Now, the Nats had 23 hits and 23 runs. If that ain't efficient, I don't know what else is. I mean, that was just some efficient baseball we saw from them. Justin Bour. Now, if you remember, we talked a little bit about Justin Bour on last night's show. I said, this is a guy, a left-hander, that I'm going to take advantage of. He can definitely, and he hadn't been hitting well at all. And I knew it was coming, bro, because I liked him ever since he got inserted into that starting first base spot. So I did get on him. 39 DraftKings points for Bour, 35, for Bour. That was pretty good. We had Daniel Murphy at 18 DraftKings points at 4.6K. Anthony Rendon, 71 on DraftKings, 99 on FanDuel. Had an excellent game there. The top 4 scoring bats from the bottom 5 lower of the order. Yes, that was something to look at. He's on a slight streak right now. Okay, I can dig that. Then we had Francisco Lindor at 4.8, had a really solid game, scored 25 points. Bryce Harper at 5.3K, 27 for him. Domingo Santana scored 32 at 4K, and Adam Duvall at 4.2 had 24 DraftKings points. Now this total on DraftKings looked like it could have took down a basketball GPP. 328.65 points. This perfect lineup on DraftKings could have, MLB could have taken down a fucking NBA tournament. Like, that was sick. This is the 6th scoring. And this is something that we're not going to see again for quite some time. I mean, that was a performance for the ages when you talk about fantasy and what actually went on. So, talking a little bit about some of the best plays that we saw this evening. If you talk about pitching, man, you had Keuchel at 34.25. Ryu had 28.4. JC Ramirez 26. Eduardo Rodriguez 25. German Marquez 25. And Patrick Corbin, 23.85. So we saw some pretty decent pitching performances. Some of them were at low price guys. I know the guy that was 5K, Matt Garza, went out and balled. As far as the batters go, you know Rendon, 7.1. Waiters came in second at 3.9. Bour, 3.5. Santana. Miguel Sano had a really nice one, a guy that we kind of were on here in the shop at 28. Bryce Harper, Josh Bell, 26. Toles had 25. Lindor, 25. And remember, Jay Bruce. Now, if you remember, Jay Bruce was a guy that we highlighted in Guru's Gang, man. Something you can go check out on the website. I think the new one should be already up and ready for you to view, and that's at thedailyfantasysweatshop.com. Go check that out, man. That's how you're going to get access to this private Facebook group, man. The group of guys here that are more than willing to help you and become a profitable MLB DFS player. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the slate. I'm going to be working from QL. That's going to give me, the list of the games list. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the 7:05 first pitch goes out, Toronto and my New York Yankees. Now, SP2 has been the toughest spot to roster the past week or more. I would definitely agree with that. That's coming from the homie Seth Rudnick. So back to the game, we've got the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Yankees. This is always a pretty good series whenever these guys play each other. Now, we've got 14-mile-per-hour wind shooting out toward left field, 71 degrees. Pretty good temperature for baseball, 62 is the dew point, and 74% humidity. We've got Marco Estrada at 8.3K on the mound for the Toronto Blue Jays against Luis Severino. Now, Severino has had some pretty decent performances so far this season. He started off pretty slow in that first game, but he had 34, 30, and 28 DraftKings points. The last game was against the Boston Bo Sox, so I kind of like Severino in this spot. And I think he's going to be pretty much a favorite when it comes to this 11-game slate. You don't always need high-priced pitchers. That is true. That's coming from K. Chansey. That's very true. In my opinion, if you can pay up for that one stud you like, the safer guy, and then, find the value a little bit further down, that can definitely help you get the bats that you like. Now, Courtney Smith just said that Severino here is a lock. And the 7.5 run total is kind of what I'm leaning on, because I don't think this game's going to score a ton of runs. He is actually my first choice when it comes for pitching, and that's true for Kaheem Jones as well. We like this guy a lot, so I am going to be on Severino here. Marco Estrada is interesting. I see, with the heat coming from the Yankee bats, I don't think he's going to see much ownership. I really don't think he's going to see much ownership. Now, at 8.3K, that's even more cause for pause on that. That's a cause for concern there. him being priced up a little bit more than Severino's not a spot that I definitely want to take advantage of Marco Estrada. So there's a couple of bats in this game I think we can use, but my favorite pitching prospect from this game is going to be Luis Severino, and actually he's going to be one of my favorite pitchers on the actual slate in total. In this game we're talking about is the Baltimore Orioles and the Red Sox. This game is going to be in Boston. We got a 6 mile per hour wind shooting out toward left field. We've got 64 degrees here, 82% humidity, a dew point of 58. This is going to be a really solid game in my opinion. Man, I kind of like this. We've got Dylan Bundy at 7K and Rick Porcello. I think that Rick Porcello does deserve consideration at 9.5. I can definitely see him, whiffing a few of the Baltimore guys. So I think I'm going to take a shot in some spots against him. But Toronto doesn't have hitters. They don't have hitters, and that's why Severino is going to be a play. K Changes says he likes an old stack tomorrow. I mean, I can see that if you're looking to attack Severino. If you don't like Porcello, then attack him. If you don't like Porcello, attack him. That's where I'm coming from. If you don't like Porcello, attack him. Now, the one thing that's going to give me pause for this is we're not going to see Chris Davis in the lineup. I don't think. I think he's day to day. Bundy looks good at first glance. Yeah, he does. But these are the Bo Sox, man, and it's gonna be tough to get through that order unscathed. Very tough. 8.5 point run total, so it should be a fair amount of runs scored in this game. And so far so good. Severino still my favorite pitching prospect on the slate. Next game we're talking about is the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds. 17 mile per hour wind shooting out toward left field. 0% chance of rain. This game should play without any incident. 62 degrees, 54% humidity, and a 45 dew point. We've got Garrett Cole at 8.1 against Amir Garrett at 5.5. Now, there is interest for me in Amir Garrett. The only trepidation I have is that, the Pittsburgh bats seem to have waken up a little bit. But I still think that at 5.5K, you can take a shot at Amir Garrett. Maybe he's going to have that bounce back game that we were looking for because everybody was on him last time they played. And he burned a lot of people. So I definitely don't foresee the ownership on him being high at all. I mean, 10.5, 11.1, 9.2, 12.9. Those are his last 4 games. The last game being against, beat a win against Milwaukee where he had, a loss against Milwaukee where he had 12.9 points. I'm okay with Amir Garrett in the spot. If you play Kershaw, use Garrett. Like, that's going to be a guy to help you pay up for pitching when it comes to him. Now, Garrett Cole is in a decent spot, but I kind of like the Reds at home, and I think I was a day early on the Reds. There's a few of those Reds bats that I do like. A couple of switch hitters and left-handed guys. That's where I'm going to take it. That's where I'm going to take it. Next game we're talking about is the Cleveland Indians and the Detroit Tigers. We've got Trevor Bauer on the mound for the Cleveland Indians and Daniel Norris. Now let me do a quick check on that to make sure that this is exactly who. Okay. I have to keep it up here. Do a quick check on that. Yeah, we got Trevor Bauer and Daniel Norris. Okay. I kind of want nothing to do with either of these pitchers in this game. My exposure to this game is going to come with really attacking these pitchers, man. And Cleveland Indians, man. Yo, didn't we talk about this yesterday on yesterday's show where I said, yo, it is gonna one of these days the Cleveland Bats are gonna go off because they're a good team, a very solid hitting team. This was actually one of my favorite teams to play last year, and I knew that at some point, they were gonna go off, and they kind of did today. We saw very solid games for a lot of those Cleveland guys. The Bats have woken up. I think they stay hot against Daniel Norris. He is a left-hander that throws meatballs. These guys can definitely get at him. So I do like some of those Cleveland Indians. The next game we're talking about is the Tampa Bay Rays and the Miami Marlins. This game is going to be in Miami. It's a 15 mile per hour wind, but it's domed, so it doesn't matter. We've got 29% chance of light rain. This game should play without any delay or postponement. It should be good. 71% humidity, 82 degrees. It's going to be hot down there in Miami. We've got Jake Odorizzi at 7.7 and Wei Yin Chen at 6.6. If I had to play a pitcher in this game, I would go Odorizzi because the Marlins haven't been exactly tearing the cover off the ball lately. The only thing is I hate to play pitchers on the road if I have to. Chris Stewart equals catcher of the day play. That's coming from Samuel. I like the drum. Yeah, it's really tough to attack the Miami Marlins, especially when they're at home, because their home road splits are really good. So in my opinion, I would take another shot at or Dozy, or take a shot at those Miami bats, those left-handed Miami bats, the guys that we saw kind of heated up today. So that's where I'm at with that. No interest in Wei Yang Chen for me. Just don't want to play him at all. Next game we got is the New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves. Now we've got Freddie Freeman going back to Freddie Freeman Park. I know a lot of guys are going to be on him. Julio Teheran should be on the mound at 8.5 against Robert Gesselman. Gesselman is a player that I normally do like, but just the simple fact that this game is going to be in Atlanta, great home road split for them. We got 12-mile-per-hour wind going out toward center field, and at SunTrust Stadium, that was built for Freddie Freeman to rock it out. So I think that could be what happens, and I won't have any exposure to the pitching in this game, but there are a few guys that I do like, and we will be talking about these guys. As we close the curtain and jump into the Facebook VIP. By the way, if you want to get in there, you know what to do. Next game we're talking about is the Philadelphia Phillies and the Chicago Cubs. You've got Vince Velasquez on the mound for the Phillies at 8.7 and Brett Anderson at 6.4 for the Cubs. This game has a 40% chance of light rain, and it is a small possibility that it will delay and rain out. It's 19-mile-per-hour wind going out toward left field. That is a lot. 51 degrees, 40% chance of light rain, we already stated, and 72% is the humidity there. Velasquez is a decent pitcher, very decent pitcher. And if the Chicago Cubs are going to let down in some spot, I think it could be against Velasquez. However, at home, you've always got to take a look at the Chicago Cubs, man. They're a really good team at home, especially when they've got a pitcher that's going to give up runs, and they need to match the other team's run total. You see what I'm saying? So that's going to have those Cubs guys swinging the bat with a sense of urgency, and I can dig that, and I probably am going to have some exposure to those guys in this spot. And you look at the Philadelphia Phillies, they've been playing pretty well lately as well. The one guy that I would like in this matchup is going to be Maikel Franco. I like him, and we can attack Brett Anderson, without a doubt. Anderson sucks, coming from Dave Cunningham. I agree. We can definitely take advantage of some of those Phillies bats. Next game we talk about is going to be the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros. Andrew Cashner at 6.2 for the Rangers, and Lance McCullers Jr. Give me some McCullers. Now it's going to be very hard for me, to play McCullers and Kershaw. It's going to be borderline impossible. And to me, in my opinion, it's kind of ridiculous to pay that much for both pitchers, because you're going to have shit for bats. So, and the biggest question of this slate, anytime you see a guy like Clayton Kershaw on, is can you fade him? And our experience recently has shown that you can. You can. There was a time, during last season where you just didn't fade these guys, man. You automatically played them. But you look at the fact that Severino is at 8K, which is very doable. And then you got Lance McCullers at 10.7. Now, the beauty of this is you're going to get that strikeout upside from both of these cats, right? Without paying up that much for Clayton Kershaw. Am I saying don't play Kershaw? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying fade Kershaw. What I'm telling you is, if I had to choose between McCullers and Severino, or Kershaw and Garrett Cole, or not Garrett Cole, but Amir Garrett, I'd rather take McCullers and Severino. That's the way I would go, right? Now, on FanDuel, I understand you need to play Kershaw. You have to fade Kershaw on FanDuel. I can understand you need to play because you only get one shot at pitching. I understand that, but I definitely don't have an issue with playing pitching around Kershaw and paying down for some of these guys that are not bad at all. That's just my take on it. I do like Lance McCullers. He's one of my favorite pitching prospects on the slate as well. This game we're talking about is the Chicago White Sox and the Kansas City Royals. Jason Vargas let a lot of people down last time. Garrett burned the shit out of me. He did burn us last time. He really did. And I think the same thing happened with Vargas, man. Vargas went out and didn't have a very good performance. Now, and this was based on what he had been doing. To start the season, 23 against Houston, 34 against Oakland, 35 against San Francisco. Went to the White Sox and only scored 11. So it wasn't a horrible performance, but I think that's something that's going to keep a lot of cats off of him. But I do understand if you wanted to pay down a little bit, and use that 7.4K to pay for Jason Vargas in the spot. Dylan Covey is definitely an attackable guy, but do you want to do that with one of the worst hitting teams in the league right now, the Kansas City Royals? That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. Now, I also could see, stacking some of those right-handed bats against Jason Vargas and attack him in that way. I kind of like that as well. So a couple of different options we can go in this game. Next game we're talking about is the Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. 8.5-point run total, 16-mile-per-hour wind shooting out towards center field. 54%. 54 is the temperature. 64% humidity. 42 dew point. We've got Zach Davies on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers. Michael Wacha at 7.2 is there for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he's been pretty steady. He's been pretty steady recently. First game, 25 against Cincinnati, the same team he's facing now. 16.9 against my New York Yankees. 19.4 against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and 17 against the Toronto Blue Jays. So Wacha has been steady recently. And this is a guy that at one point was supposed to be that next pitching sensation. And I think he's kind of leveled off, become a slightly better than average pitching prospect, and somebody that I think against the Brewers, is going to be tough to use. If we don't have Brian Braun, if you don't have Travis Shaw, then maybe you can take a look at him. Guys are not going to want to play cats against Eric Thames, and due to the fact that he's a guy that you may want to play, some guys are not gonna like him, and they're going to want to attack. So I can see both sides of the argument in this spot, but I probably won't have any exposure to Michael Wacha. I probably won't. Next game we're talking about is the San Francisco Giants and the LA Dodgers. Kay Chancey says the Brewers do strike out a lot, and that's a solid case that you can make for playing Wacha. That's a solid case. We got the Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. The game's going to be in LA. We've got a 5-mile-per-hour wind shooting out toward right field. 0% chance of rain. The game should play without incident. We got Johnny Cueto on the mound against Clayton Kershaw. This automatically tells me I want to get a piece of this game in some way, shape, or form when it comes to the pitching. 11.5 is a lot to pay for Cueto. 13.9 is a lot to pay for Kershaw. So I am not going to be on a complete Kershaw fade. I'm going to have a lineup or two, with Kershaw. As you know, I roll out between 5 and 10 per slate. So I am going to have some exposure to Kershaw, but I am going to have that Dodger stack to kind of attack Cueto, and I think that that's the batting in this game is probably going to be very low owned, just because the pitching is going to be so good. We're probably going to see a low run total. Right now, the run total is 6, the lowest on the board. I like Garrett a lot as an option as well, coming from Josh Dewey. What's up, big homie? So there's a little bit that we do like when it comes to the Giants and the Dodgers. So now that we've whipped through the slate, man, just highlighting a few of our favorite pitching plays. We've got Severino. We've got, of course, Clayton Kershaw. Whenever he's on the slate, he's also deserves consideration. We've got Lance McCullers Jr. We've got a little bit of Amir Garrett, maybe some Garrett Cole, and some folks like Michael Wacha. Saying the San Francisco Dodgers is like me saying the New York Red Sox. You still my dude, though. I'm sorry, bro. I was looking at both teams at the same time. San Francisco, and I'm nervous, bro. I'm on. I want to say national TV, but I'm nervous, man. I'm not built for this shit. I'm not like a real actor or anything like that. I'm sorry. I'm a regular dude. I'm sorry. I got nervous, bro. My apologies. Tomorrow's the first day I'd be okay not going 100% on Kershaw. Yeah, I'm not. I'm okay not going 100% on Kershaw. I'm completely fine with that. I'm not doing that. But I am going to have some exposure. I am. And the fact that they make it so easy to get Severino and you get McCullers in the same lineup, man, is still have a solid roster build when it comes to your bats. Yo, I think we're in a good spot. I think we're in a good spot when it comes to pitching, and that's probably going to be a highly used combination. So I think we're going to have to separate ourselves more so when it comes to batting. So this has been your DFS Jerusalem, giving you a little intro to the slate, breaking it down. If you want more, come and join us here in the Facebook VIP, where we're going to be breaking down our stacks, core plays, everything that really goes into breaking down the slate. And then, if you join now, you can meet me for the line drive at 5, which is also done in the Facebook VIP. Everything we do is done here in the group, man. So we get together, put our heads together as one team, and we come out with plays that we really like. So thank you all so much for all your support, for being a part of this thing, man. But we're going to go ahead and close the curtain and go ahead and chop it up, man. Thank you so much for everything that you've done so far, man. And y'all have a wonderful and solid start to your week going on Monday. And remember, the number one thing I want you to do in the sweatshop is throw them bitches in the May and keep it 300. You know, hold it down.